Hey friends and book lovers, welcome back. Today's video is my reading goals for 2022. I did one of these videos last year for 2021 and it was really nice to have a few goals to really work on throughout the year. Some of them flopped and some of them were really amazing and I got through them, but I always love doing this to kind of reorganize and recenter myself whenever a new year comes around, and it's just, I know, an arbitrary marker in time, but I still really enjoy doing these types of videos where we just get to put down some goals and kind of remotivate ourselves to do better next year. I have been thinking about these goals for a long time because some of these things were really easy to do when we were on lockdown, and some of these things were items that I wish I would have done more of in 2021, and things that I really look forward to even as personal goals, but that I know are really relevant to my reading goals as well. So without further ado, let's jump into my goals, both my reading goals and a couple of channel goals that I'll leave towards the end. So my first goal is going to be my book reading goal. I read 62 books this year so far. My goal was 60, so I surpassed that by a couple books. I read a lot in June and July when we had the readathon, so that was a really big motivator to get a lot of reading done, but I was definitely burnt out for a few months after that because all I was doing is pushing out books. So this year I'm going back to just 50 books for the year. If I go beyond 50, amazing, but I don't think that I'm going to update my goal throughout the year because I want to leave it at 50 and not stress myself out. There are some series that I really want to catch up on that you'll see in another video, and then some series that I want to start and maybe finish in 2022, and I will be posting a video on the series that I'm starting this coming year and the books that I want to read this coming year. So those are goals that are going to be within my 50 books of the year, but those are videos that are going to come out later in January. My next goal is nonfiction. I wanted to read more nonfiction last year, but I did not get that. I read maybe 1 or 2 nonfiction books, and then I was just super deep into fantasy, which I love fantasy, but I also want to get a lot of nonfiction books under my belt. This is gonna be also somewhat of a personal goal of mine because personally I love nonfiction, as a lot of these books have really great information. They're really great teaching books and things that I can learn from, that I can maybe apply in my career, in my life, and I have that big goal of nonfiction books. Last year I had 1 a month, which was a lot, and I think I read 1 or 2 nonfiction books for the whole year. This time I'm gonna do 7 books for nonfiction for the year. If I read more, that's amazing. If I read less, that's okay too, but I really want to have nonfiction as a goal of my reading and another genre that I'm diving into for the year. And I'll probably do some content around nonfiction books, maybe some bullet points and some highlights of nonfiction books that I am reading, so that you guys can take something away from those books even if you haven't read them as well. So let me know if those videos would be of interest to you, and I will start putting some things together. And so within that same vein for nonfiction books, I want to read books that are not in the genre of fantasy. Fantasy is my favorite. I love it, but I do want to expand my horizons and read other genres, namely like thriller, horror. I want to read maybe some more poetry, discover other poets that I really love. I have a few poets that I do already know that I love, but I would love to discover more. I read some classics this past year and that was amazing. I would love to read more classics. And since I do enjoy a fantasy romance, I would be willing to try just a regular romance novel to see how I feel about it. Nothing cheesy, but maybe a modern romance novel that would be interesting, maybe that is very well loved, well received in the community, to kind of dip my toes in that genre. Not saying that I'll love it, but I am very curious. So let me know if you have any suggestions in the comments down below as to what regular romance book that I should maybe dive into for a good taste of the genre. I also want to read some kind of lesser known books. Now on Bookstagram, there are a lot of authors that advertise their books that are much lesser known, that are kind of more self-published or from small publishing houses, and I really want to dive into their books and read lesser known authors. I read a couple of arcs this year from authors that were lesser known, and their books were great. I had a great time reading them, and they were definitely gems in the rough, and I want to continue to do that this year in a more formal fashion of like really looking at some books that are from lesser known authors from kind of any genre, and incorporating those into my TBRs and kind of expanding my horizons of authors that maybe aren't as hyped on booktube but really deserve a chance to be featured and to shine. So I have a couple of books like that in mind that I'd love to read and that I'm hoping to read in the new year, and then I'm going to incorporate that into some content and my TBRs for 2022. My next goal is kind of a funny goal because I never wanted this to be my reality in book reading, but I think it just might be, and that is to DNF more books. I think if I'm not feeling a book, I should just not push my way through it, because I've done that way too often. I've pushed my way through books and it puts me in a reading slump, or it makes me really unexcited to read, and so I don't get as much reading done. But I really want to be excited about all the books I read, not always to binge read them, but at least to be excited to sit down and read a really amazing book. So DNFing, even if it means a soft DNF where I'm gonna put it down for now and come back to it later, I am planning on doing that with more books next year and kind of giving myself permission and more freedom to do such things with books. I don't want to feel guilty about DNFing books, and so that's why this is going to be a formal goal, because I often do feel guilty putting a book down or DNFing a book. I just feel like a book should always be fully read, but sometimes when you're not into it, you're just not into it, and you have to let that book go. So that is a goal of mine that I really want to keep in mind. I've seen other booktubers and book lovers do that, and I feel like their reading journey is much more enjoyable for them, much more relaxed and much more carefree, and that's definitely something that I want to incorporate into my reading life in 2022. So if you've been following my channel and watching my videos for a while now, you know that I've amassed a lot of books, and a lot of these I've read, but a lot of them I haven't read. So a big focus for me this year is to really maybe read a good chunk of my physical TBR, the books that I have, because I'm sure that some of these are going to be amazing and I'm going to want to keep them, but I know that some of them are going to be ones that I'm going to unhaul. And my shelves, though I have many of them, are becoming very, very full, and so I need to be able to read what I have and see what I like and what I don't like. There are definitely books that I bought a few years ago thinking I was going to love them, so I might have to go through some of those even without reading them and see if I will still want to keep them and still want to read them. But I am planning on taking a chunk out of my physical TBR and reading them so that I can finally put some new books that I love on the shelves and then take some old books that I don't love out of the shelves for other folks to enjoy. So that's a big one that I have. In that same vein, I definitely want to be more mindful of the books that I buy, because I love to buy books and it's so easy for me to go on a binge and buy a ton of them, but I don't read as many as I buy. So I end up with so many books in my physical TBR that are unread, and I really want to make sure that I buy books and that I read them at a similar rate at least. Of course, book buying and book collecting is a totally different hobby than book reading, and I love both hobbies, so I end up with a lot of books and they make me so excited, but I really do want to make sure that I am more mindful of the books that I am buying for myself, and I feel like in the last couple of months I have been more mindful, and that's been really good for my shelves and my sanity and my wallet, and I want to continue to do that in the next year, just keeping in mind that I have a lot of books, that I have to read them, and do I really need this book if I haven't read it yet, and could I wait to buy it so that I could read other books beforehand. So that's something that I'm keeping in mind. And then my last little reading goal that's really kind of a little project is an ARC project. So I have amassed a few ARCs over the last year from NetGalley, just some e-ARCs, and I really need to read them. One of them is a novella, so I have no excuse for that one. And a few of them I've read and reviewed, which are on my channel, but a few of them I really do have to go through and read and rate and put behind me. So I'm going to be doing kind of an ARC reading project where I go through and read these ARCs so that I can kind of get them off my backlist for NetGalley, and then be, of course, far more careful for books that I select or put a request in. I was pretty careful with these last few books. I just wasn't good about reading them on time as I scheduled them, because I did go through a couple reading slumps after my big splurge of reading in July or June for the readathon, and so those kind of fell off of my schedule and they amassed because of that. But now I kind of want to go back, read everything, and then when I have that backlist cleared, start requesting other books that I might be interested in. So that is a project that I'm putting as a small goal here for myself. I hope to get it done, and if I don't, then I'll be DNFing some of these books that I don't like. So it'll be like 2 goals in one for this ARC project. But I'm really excited to dive in and see these books that have been given to me and see if I enjoy them and what my rating would be. So stay tuned for that content as well. This next portion of the video is going to be for the booktube and kind of book media type of goals. One of my goals last year was to vlog more, and I certainly did vlog, but I really want to make it a habit of putting out 1 or 2 vlogs a month because I want to get into the practice of vlogging, getting comfortable with vlogging, getting comfortable with taking content for vlogging, for doing anything that I require to do for vlogging, and just kind of getting more into that mode and understanding it, because vlogs are some of my favorite things to watch. Whereas I feel like my vlogs are not the most interesting, I want to figure out ways to make them more interesting, and I can only do that if I put it into practice. So vlogging is still going to be one of my goals for 2022, and I'm hoping with experience and with courses and just with practice I can become better and more interesting. Of course, suggestions for interesting vlogs or what you guys like in a vlog are always welcome in the comments down below. So feel free to put any opinions down there if you'd like to, but that is a goal of mine, and that's something that makes me really excited as a content creator to put out there, is to just practice a skill set and a type of video that I really like, because I would really love to bring that to my channel more. The next thing is I want to have series on my channel. Now, I've talked about the ARC project, so that'll be a small series on my channel, and I also want to bring other series onto my channel to kind of give you guys an episodic view of things I'm completing and things that I'm doing. I find that makes it much more interesting and much more invested, and I feel like I'll be more interested and committed to my own goals if I can make them into a series. So stay tuned for those. But those types of series and episodic videos are definitely going to be making an appearance on my channel, and hopefully I'll have a few series for y'all to enjoy. If there's anything that you want to see on my channel in that regards, or in any regards really, definitely leave a comment down below. I always love hearing your thoughts, and of course, if you want to see something, that always helps me come up with something to put out for you guys as well. And the last thing is maybe a little more personal, maybe not as booktube involved, but I have been neglecting my bookstagram this last year. I don't know why, because I have all the things I need to take beautiful pictures, but I haven't been doing that, and I want to be posting on my bookstagram more often than I have been, hopefully 1 time a week at least, with books that I'm reading or things that I'm really excited about, and making really cool pictures. Now, this last year has been really hectic, so I've given myself a little bit of a break, but I want to get back into bookstagram. I'm always posting on my stories. I love posting on stories, but I want to post more permanently on my bookstagram as well, and have some really cool photos out there for you guys too that might tie in to the videos that are coming out on my channel. That's it for my goals this year. I feel like I have a bunch of them, but I feel like they're all very achievable, and that they all kind of interlink and interweave with each other really well to create kind of like a really wonderful map of where I want to be and what I want to accomplish in 2022. Of course, these things are subject to change. I will be doing check-in videos once a quarter to see where I am with my goals, and to kind of keep myself accountable on this channel of the goals that I've set for myself and how I'm completing them over time. And again, that could always change, and in those check-in videos you'll definitely see if anything is changing or anything is being updated, so stay tuned for those to come out as well. And as always, if you like this video, please click that like button. That really does help me out and my channel out a lot. And if you like this content and you want to see more from me, please don't hesitate to subscribe.